What's going on, guys? This is Soul from the DualShock and Sense podcast. I am here today reacting to the Assassin's Creed Mirage cinematic reveal trailer. At least from, I'm on Ubisoft's page right now. They just had, a big showcase, and I'm on their page right now, and unless this thing shows... it says it's a cinematic trailer, so I'm expecting this to be just their classic CGI trailer that they always do for AC. But from the looks of it, they didn't show any gameplay, which, if this thing is coming out early next year, I'm like, why wouldn't you show gameplay, Regardless, I'm a lapsed Assassin's Creed fan. I used to adore this franchise to death. But then Unity happened, and I started getting it hit me. I had this epiphany that these games are really just the same thing over and over again, right? And then, the thing I was really invested in was the modern day stuff and how Altair all the way up to I would say a little bit of Edward. It felt connected, right? There was a cohesive sort of thread that was connecting Altair to Ezio to Connor to Desmond, right? And then that was just immediately dropped, and I lost that thing that was that thing that I felt invested in, right? And so I just stopped caring about the franchise after, I would really say, about when Desmond died. So I haven't gone back since 2014, looking for a reason to go back. None of the games have really appealed to me. Just from looking at them has really appealed to me, especially since they've kind of strayed further and further away from this idea of being an assassin, right? That classic Altair and Ezio kind of look has just been not what those games have been anymore, right? The focus on stealth, action, adventure, sort of gameplay, right? But this, from all the rumors, sounds like it's going to be a return to form in terms of going back to its roots. So let's see how this thing looks, man. I might be interested in this. This might be the first time I'm interested in an AC game since 2014. So yeah, let's check it out, man. It's 3 minutes, almost 4 minutes, so it's a beefy little trailer. So let's get into this. Playing in 3, 2, 1.
Peggy 18.
Basim Ebne's Haq. Are you ready to give up who you once thought you were?
I am.
Why do they do the whole Ubisoft original thing?
Ready to sacrifice everything you held close.
I am.
God, and that voice is so recognizable. I'm not even gonna try pronouncing her name, but we know who she is, right? She's in The Expanse. She was in Mass Effect 2 as one of the Quarians, right?
I am.
I really like the outfits are on point so far, man. The missing finger as well. I'm assuming that this is his mentor, so I really like it. Also feels AC1 in the sense of the whole mentor and student relationship, right? With Al-Mualim and Altair in the first game. It seems like we're maybe having that a little bit here again.
Never forget the tenets you have sworn to uphold. Stay your blade from the flesh of the innocent.
Right through the tenets.
Hide in plain sight.
Ooh, the classic bench kill, nice. Smoke bomb. So what I was trying to say earlier was that I really like the emphasis on parkour that this thing is giving. Ooh, poison gas. Yeah, obviously we'll see how it looks in the final game, but the emphasis on parkour is very reassuring. Nice.
From this day forward,
because
you
I would say
a hidden one.
oh, shout out to Assassin's Creed 2 right there. The Assassin's Creed 2 CGI trailer from way back when. Cool. And Altair did the feather thing, right?
Assassin's Creed Mirage, coming 2023.
Play it day one with Ubisoft Plus? I didn't know that they were doing that whole like Game Pass thing. Yeah, so specifically about the whole parkour thing, why I think it's reassuring is because I feel like, and again, I'm saying this as someone who didn't play Syndicate all the way up to Valhalla. I just skipped out on all those games. But from what I could tell, and from, you know, the people that, you know, I know who have played those games, the parkour has definitely been downgraded. I think it's probably saying it nicely. And it's just like, I always feel like in those old games, especially in the Ezio trilogy, you always had to like, and yes, like the parkour was a lot slower in those games, but you always had to like look at the environment and engage with it. It always felt like little mini environmental puzzles of being like, okay, like where can I go? Where can't I go? I understand why people would find that boring or whatnot, but like, I don't know, it made me feel like I was more in that world because I actually had to pay attention to like where I was going, right? But now in these newer games, it's just like you just press the thumbstick forward and you can climb whatever the hell you want, right? There's no repercussions, right? You don't have to worry about anything, right? I think even in Odyssey, there was like no fall damage, right? So you could like jump off a skyscraper and your ankles would be fine, right? So I'm not saying, you know, this is just a CGI trailer, so for all intents and purposes, they could just be doing the same parkour that they've been doing the last 3 or 4 games, right? But it feels like the parkour in the most recent games have been such an afterthought. The fact that it feels like it's so front and center in this really makes me hope, it has my fingers crossed, or I'm crossing my fingers that they're putting a little bit more effort into the parkour. Other than that, man, I mean, imagery wise, they're like checking off all the boxes for me personally as like a lapsed AC fan. Like everything in this, I mean, they got the location, they have the outfits, they have the tone and the vibe. I really like the mentor and student sort of story it looks like we're going with here. Basim being like a thief and then turned assassin, right, is something really, really cool to me. It's hitting all those bullet points for me. Again, it's about the execution it's always about the execution with Ubisoft. Again, my hope with it going back to its roots, one of the other reasons why I just was not interested in Origins and Odyssey and Valhalla was because they are these 80-hour, maybe I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean, they're these huge sprawling open world games that take dozens and dozens and dozens of hours to complete, that are just overstuffed to the brim with just fluff and things like that, right? And from what we've heard, this, you know, because this is going back to its roots, it seemingly looks like it's not going to be an RPG. It's not going to have, you know, dialogue trees and major decisions. It's not going to take you 50 hours to complete and whatnot. It's not going to be a pseudo Witcher 3 clone, right? To me, that's not Assassin's Creed strength at all. Like, just like your strength was being a pseudo stealth action adventure game focusing on assassins, right? And the moment that they dropped that or steered away from it, it just wasn't Assassin's Creed to me anymore. Right? No, it almost felt like a new IP, especially with Valhalla and Odyssey. Just from like the outside looking in, it always felt like We're playing a Spartan or Viking simulator and we're just slapping the AC name on it, right? So it looks like we're cutting that stuff out, and it's going to be, in terms of gameplay wise, it's not going to take me like 2 months of my life to finish. And I can finish it in like a week or something like that. I don't know. I know people like those games being that long, you know, and things like that. But I don't know. I just miss the old AC. I'm like an old man, but like I miss the old AC. That was a very straightforward, curated story, linear story. You know, and those games were open world, but they just weren't as sprawling, just so like filled with fluff and like level gating and things like that, as the newer games are. So again, this thing, and again, it is just a CGI trailer, but it is like seemingly hitting all the notes for me. This is what I've been asking for I mean, literally since 2014 or 2015, because even Syndicate, like, it's funny because Syndicate, looking at it, at first I was really interested in it because I was still in my super AC fan mindset back then. But the more I saw of AC Syndicate, I was like, maybe I don't want to play this franchise anymore. But overall, man, it looks really cool. The jury's still out. I still need to see how this game runs in motion, if it's still gonna be like, the combat, I think, is the biggest thing, because that's another thing about like Valhalla and Odyssey, is that like it looks like your character's like sliding on ice when they're fighting, and it looks like it wants to be like a Dark Souls kind of clone or something, you know, if you're heavy and your light attacks and things like that. And then you have these like ridiculous like supers and things like that. Right, so like I'm being really negative, but I don't know, man. Like, I just really hope that this is like in combat as well, that it's just like straightforward, just like maybe not as easy as it was back in like AC Brotherhood and Revelations, like that sort of combat. But like I feel like Unity's combat was like, it was probably the most difficult Assassin's Creed game. Like that combat was like really brutal, especially with the goddamn ranged enemies. But like I feel like there has to be a good balance between like Unity's combat and something like AC3 and AC4's combat. Like I feel like there's a sweet spot somewhere in there, right? That I would love to see kind of come back. But yeah, because I don't know, it just feel never mind, I'm not gonna get into it, but yeah, definitely parkour and combat I need to see in motion. Story as well. So far they have me intrigued, but I crossing my fingers for no supernatural BS as well, right? But so far I'm intrigued. I'm not pressing that pre-order button yet, but I definitely need to see more. But yeah, that's it for me for this reaction for Assassin's Creed Mirage. Jury's still out. I need to see more, but I can honestly say this is the first time I've been intrigued for Assassin's Creed in years. So they're doing something right? So yeah, that's it for me. We record a podcast on this channel every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This week's a little weird. We're actually doing it on Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just talking about the gaming community in general, news that's dropping, news that happened in the week and whatnot. We'll definitely be talking about this whole Ubisoft showcase and what happened, what didn't happen, etc. So if that sounds remotely interesting to you, check out our podcasts. Consider subscribing to the channel. We would greatly appreciate that. So yeah, peace out.